mean, I am lucky to be able to figure out how to put it online, really. So,
Yes.
so sit comfortably and let yourself be mindful about how you're sitting so that you feel good in your hips. You can feel really good as you lengthen up through the top of your head. And then just feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose, and just enjoy. You might want to take a couple of breaths. I know with the mask it's different. You might want to take a little breath in through your nose and out through your mouth a couple of times to kind of calm you down. But when you eventually come into feeling the breath coming in and going out through your nose, imagine you're breathing in and out equally through each side of your nose, even if you're kind of stopped up on one side. And feel the breath coming into your belly. And then start to move forward and back with your breath, that gentle rocking motion. Exhales bring you forward, and inhales bring you back up. And it doesn't matter how far you go. You may feel really good to keep your back long and come farther, or you may want to move just a couple of inches forward and back, right? Just allowing the breath to gently move your body. Feeling that connection between your breath and your movement. And the next time that you come back up, right, so you're sitting up tall, stay there, and let your arms come on out beside you. Feel like you have like a breath of air underneath your arms. You know, that doesn't mean your fingertips can't still touch the floor, but just kind of imagine there's a little breath of air towards your armpits, really. And then we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. And now clasp your hands, send your palms out away from your chest, just forward of your chest if you can. So you feel your wrists here as you press into the heels of the hands. You feel the arms starting to wake up as well, up into your shoulders. And then come back in with your hands right back to your chest again. And imagine now that you've interlaced your fingers and you're trying to pull them apart, but they won't come apart. They're kind of locked together there. And keep pulling, and then eventually you're going to kind of let them come loose, right? And then just let your arms unfold right on out beside you. Once they come loose from each other, we'll turn the palms up towards the ceiling here now and inhale the arms all the way up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. And let's unfold our arms here, shake our arms and hands out a little bit. And then stretch your legs forward for a second. Let yourself flex and point your feet a little bit. So waking up now through the feet, the ankles. You can circle too if that feels good. Just kind of let the feet move the way they want. There's no particular way they need to look. Feel your legs stretching out a little bit there. Good. And then let's come on into if you're on the floor, let your left leg be long. We're going to cross our right ankle above our left knee into that figure 4. And if you know that's too much for you, don't cross over the midline. The other thing is you can always cross at your ankle or below your knee if you're on the floor. Flex through that foot and let yourself come on forward a little bit. If you're comfortable to put your hand on your foot, you can. You can let your left hand come onto the foot. You can even interlace your fingers a little bit between your toes if you're able to do that. So if you've got socks on, I know that doesn't work, but if you can find a little space between the toes, and sometimes it helps just to give yourself a little bit of help with letting those fingers come between each toe. And just enjoy waking up through the right hip here now. Good. One more breath. And then we'll rise on back up. Take a nice inhale. And we're going to twist as we come around towards this bent leg, twisting, bringing the left hand maybe to your knee, maybe to your shin. That depends on you. And let the right hand just gently come down to lightly touch the ground or drape your arm over the back of your chair. And just be mindful there. Let yourself feel your sitting bones drawing down. Feel that twist in the middle of your back, lengthening up through the top of your head. Good. Now stay here in the twist. Take a nice inhale. And when you exhale, just turn your head back around towards the left, back around the way you came. Let yourself just release there. And you can look down a little bit too if that feels good, if it's okay for your neck. Let yourself just release a little bit through the neck there. One more breath. And then use your belly to unwind yourself on back around into center. And we're going to switch our legs out. So coming to the other side. So again, where you cross, totally up to you. And if it's too much to cross over, put your foot more into the inside of that leg if you're on the floor. Again, when you think about coming forward, try to think of coming forward with that long back. Whether you like to put your hand on your foot, interlace your fingers a little bit, or maybe you feel better just to press the ball of your foot into your hand. Just really enjoy coming into feeling that left hip here, and maybe the foot, letting yourself feel the foot wake up a little bit too, and your toes. Just be with your breath. See if you can imagine on your inhales, letting your spine lengthen long. On the exhales, even if you don't come forward, you can imagine that you're coming a little bit more forward. Good. So one more breath here. And then as we come back up and take a nice inhale at the top, on the exhale, we're going to twist to our left. So again, that right hand can go all the way to your knee, or it can be more like at your shin. There's no right or wrong place. See if you can let that back arm just feel really released, and just gently having the hand on the floor or arm down the back of your chair. And now feel your sitting bones drawing down. Let yourself feel that ease of twisting in the middle of your back. And now we'll stay in the twist. Remember, take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, you're just going to turn your head back around to the right so that you turn to release your neck there. And again, if you feel good to look down a little bit, you can. Just let yourself find whatever release for your neck that feels good, right? And one more breath here. And then bring your chin back up parallel to the floor. We're going to unwind everything again on back into center. And let's uncross our legs again, and let's stretch our legs out long again. Let yourself move through your feet and your ankles again. Good. And then from here, bring yourself into sitting comfortable if you're on the floor. You can still be cross-legged, or you can stretch your legs out. If you're in your chair, come away from the back of your chair, all right, so that you don't hit it when we start to move through little cat-cows, right? So as you exhale, you're going to draw your navel towards your spine. Really let yourself round into your back here. And then when you inhale, send your sits bones down and feel like you're just rolling up through your spine all the way till the top of the head reaches upward. So as you exhale, you really feel the navel pulling towards the spine, and you allow your spine to come into that really like a cat pose, right? And then as you inhale, it's more of a flat back. Sit bones go down, and you just roll on up through your spine again. So one more time, exhaling, drawing that navel towards the spine, letting your head come down too. And then when you inhale, come on back up again, nice and long and tall with your spine. And release your arms now on down beside you. Let's inhale our right arm all the way out and up. And come on over into a little side stretch. So in your chair, you do what you want with this bottom hand. Your left hand can hold the chair. You can let your arm hang. You can put your hand in your lap. And on the floor, you know, you can just give yourself a little support with your hand. So just enjoy opening up here through the right side of the body. And then we're going to rise on back up, lower that arm on down, and let's make one big circle with that arm. So bring that arm forward and up. And I know sometimes going behind yourself doesn't feel so good. Just go as far as you can and back and come down. And now we'll take the left arm out and up overhead, and we're going to come into that side stretch on this side. So again, however you need to use this bottom right hand. Let yourself breathe into the side here. Feel the ribs actually moving when you inhale. Feeling that expansion of the ribs. And then rise on back up. We're going to lower the arm right back down beside us. And again, one big circle here. Bringing the arm forward slowly and up overhead. And then again, reaching back as far as you can behind you, kind of opening through the shoulders here. And now let's inhale both arms forward and up into a wide V. Turn your pinkies towards each other. Feel your shoulders drop down. If it feels good to look up, let yourself look up. If not, don't do it. Seated mountain. And then as you bring your gaze forward again, bring your hands right down through the midline to be in front of your chest. In front of your heart. Feel the connection of your hands there. And let your thumbs come in towards your breastbone, just where they want to come to, right? I mean, you might feel better to have your thumbs lower, or you may feel better to have them up higher. There's no right or wrong place. Just be easy, enjoy feeling the connection of your hands, feeling that length upward through the top of your head. And we'll right away then let our arms come on down, shake your hands out a little bit, and let's come on towards our hands and knees. So you know if you don't want to be on your knees, absolutely do not be. Use your chair to be up off the floor. Use a blanket if you'd rather for underneath your knees or your hands or both. And really be mindful. You know, it's good if you can be flat on your hands. That's great. I mean, it does help you keep the mobility of your wrists here, but if it hurts, don't do it. Come on to fists so you don't have that wrist crease, right? Or hold on to the edge of the seat of your chair. If you have to, you can even come down onto your forearms to do cat-cow, right? You can move through your spine just like this, where you don't have that kind of pressure into your hands to cause discomfort. So just ease your way through your cat-cows and take your time. Really imagine that your head is part of your spine. When you draw your tailbone up under, coming into cat pose, and you eventually let that head hang, really just enjoy. Same thing when you move through to your cow, as you send the tailbone back and you let your chest melt down. You can look forward or you can look, you know, a little down if that's better for your neck. So just let it feel very easy. Really, like you're just flowing through your back. It's the most natural thing in the world. Think about when you watch a cat move, or, you know, especially the wild ones, when you can see how they move and you watch their spines. Pretty incredible. Finish off the one you're on. Come on back to more neutral spine here now. And let's come into our lunges, stepping our left foot forward and our right foot back. And how long of a stance you take is totally up to you. You know, you may be in a shorter stance where your heel is on the floor. Doesn't matter. Just make sure that front knee doesn't bend farther forward than your ankle. And you're getting into the back of your right leg, just where you need to be, right? Draw your shoulders down. Feel that nice openness to the back of the right leg. Through your calf, down into the back of your heel too, you know, your Achilles there. We're going to switch legs. So coming to the other side and bringing that left foot back again. Does not matter how long of a stance you take. Just enjoy. The pose really does it for you. All you do is get into the pose and then just breathe and, you know, be aware of how it feels in the back of your leg. And we're going to switch legs again. So again, bringing that right foot back. And again, bring your awareness to how you feel. But this time, think about your whole body in your lunge. You know, think about if you can picture your whole body in the lunge, the length that's produced here in your spine, right? Because you're not dropped over that leg, you're lengthening your spine out. And you've got length in the back of your leg. Good. We're going to switch legs again. So again, once you get established in the lunge, kind of picture your whole body there. Enjoy that length. Good. And let's step forward and come into standing forward bend. So being mindful when you do, grab blocks if you want to put up on the seat of your chair. If you don't want to go down lower than yourself up on those blocks, then stay up higher. Bend the knees if you need. And you know you're welcome to let your hands come down to blocks or down towards the floor. And just be mindful of watching those breaths now. So just accept your breaths all the way in, all the way out. And if you can feel the inhales and exhales, perhaps becoming fairly close to the same length. Good. One more nice full deep breath here. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and come up to standing. We'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down to be in front of our hearts. Coming into our mountain pose. So you know, adjust however you need. If you need to pick your feet up a little bit, walk in place, get yourself fairly, comfortable with the distance apart your feet are, parallel the feet as best you can. And then go ahead and let your hands come to be in front of your heart. Bring your gaze on forward and out, whether your eyes are opened or closed. Like you're looking way out beyond the wall, out towards the horizon. And then envision that you're in a big, open, empty field so that you have lots of space around you. And then it's quiet. And as we unfold our arms right on back beside us here now, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bend our knees, come on forward into our standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back, that tabletop-like back, right? Doesn't matter where your hands support you. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. Feeling the shoulders draw down away from the ears. Take your time. Find again that length in the body here. And we'll come into downward facing dog pose. And you all know, down dog, totally your choice. What height you have your hands. Be very mindful of your shoulders. It's fine to be in a chair. It's fine to have your hands down onto blocks or down onto the floor. But really feel that sense of ease as you reach back through your sitting bones. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. And on the next inhale, we'll come out towards a plank. You don't have to do a full plank. You can put your knees down and do a half plank. You can put your forearms down and do a forearm plank if you want. Be where you can find that core strength a little bit there, reaching your sitting bones down towards your heels. And then we'll make our way back into down dog. So as you do, go between plank and dog. If you need to move your feet a little bit, do. And then walk your dog a little if you can. Let yourself bend one knee at a time. Releasing one heel at a time towards the ground. Good, and then come on back to your full dog, and we'll bring our right foot forward to find lunge. Now, you know you can put your left knee down if you need to get there, whatever you need to do to get into that lunge. And now press your feet just a little away from each other, like you're imagining lengthening your mat with your feet. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. And then we'll step forward and come back into our standing forward bend. So again, you use whatever support you need that enables you to come into your forward bend without discomfort in your back, right? So forward bend brings a release for the backs of your legs. It's not like you can bend your knees. You know, it's not like you're trying to force anything in the backs of your legs, but just naturally it happens. When you're forward, the backs of the legs get a little more open. And then if you are in your forward bend and can let your head hang, maybe you can feel a little more space in your spine. One more breath here. And then we'll bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips, and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. Let yourself sit back just a little bit, like you're going to sit in a very high chair, right? So as if a chair was back here up high, you know, and you come forward with your body back a little bit with your hips, that's how you'd go down into sitting safely, right? Of course, if you had arms on your chair, you could use those to help you. But right now, we're going to strengthen the legs, press down into our feet a little bit, feel the thighs engaging. Keep pressing into your feet now and rise on back up. Let yourself come back into mountain pose again. Good, and then again, exhale, sit back into a little chair pose. Feel those thighs again. Maybe you can go a little deeper. Maybe you can shift a little more weight to your heels. Let yourself feel just a little more going on there in your thighs. Good, and then rise on back up again. We're going to unfold our arms right down beside us and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we're going to come on forward into standing forward bend again. And on your next inhale, find a nice long flat back. Find that tabletop back as such. And we'll step the left foot back, this time to come into lunge. And draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Press your feet gently away from each other like you're lengthening your mat. And feel what your belly does when you do that in your hips. Good, and we're going to make our way into downward facing dog pose. So again, how you have your hands in dog, where they are, what height. It's about being easy in your shoulders, finding the length in your spine. And if you have to bend your knees in dog. There's nothing wrong with bending your knees. You can walk too. If you feel better to walk when you get into dog, you can bend one knee at a time. Let yourself find a little more comfort there. Good, and let your next inhale bring you on out towards that plank. And again, it is up to you whether you come down to your forearms, whether you put your knees down and do a half plank that way. Maybe you just want to stay in plank. Maybe you want to bend your elbows a little bit, do a little push-up. You can always bend the elbows a tiny little bit in towards your ribs and just stay there if you want to really activate your shoulders and your biceps, your arms. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. And this time we'll bring our left foot forward to find that lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet right underneath us. And again, just be mindful. I know some of you really like to put your hands onto your own elbows and just hold your elbows and hang. That is fine for some people. Some people's backs are like, yes, that is not fine. So another thing is to put your elbows above your knees. That will support your back so that you have that length in your low back and you don't have pressure into it. So just breathe. Be where you can be. Accept your breaths all the way in and out. Let your face soften. If you feel like you're kind of tensing up in your jaw, just best you can, imagine letting go through your jaw. Let it soften. And then we'll let our hands come right back up to our hips, press into our feet as we rise on up to standing, and inhale our arms out and up overhead. Letting our exhale bring our hands right down together in front of our hearts. Find your mountain pose for a breath there, feeling very equal between your feet. Actually, let yourself sway right to left, just a little bit. Not so much you're going to fall over, just a little bit, right to the left side. See if you can then end up back in center where you feel balanced. And then see if you can do the same thing front to back. Just a little swaying, front to back. And again, not too much or it'll make you want to fall over. And then see if you can gradually, again, find that centered space where you feel even between the front and the back of your feet. And as you come into that mountain pose, feeling your thighs gently lifting upward, feeling your feet into the floor there. Just enjoy feeling that lightness in the upper body. And as we unfold our arms again, right on down beside us, we'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bend our knees, come on forward into that standing forward bend again. On your next inhale, find that long back again. And this time we'll walk into down dog, so you put your hands on the surface you'd like to use, and walk your feet on back to find that length of your spine. Reach back through your tailbone, bend your knees if you need, walk if you need. And you might even want to let your head turn from side to side. So if that releases your neck a little bit, do that. And then we'll come back to our full dog, and on the next inhale, come on out towards that plank. So you can stay in plank. You can move through for a back bend if you choose. You can come to your forearms and do a sphinx. You can come through for an up dog or a cobra if you like, depending on you. You don't have to do a back bend at all. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. So take your time, walk a little bit, wag your tail if you want, move however you need in your dog really, so that you don't feel like you're locking yourself into your down dog. And then we're going to do that same thing again. We're going to come on out towards that plank. Totally optional to do a back bend. You can stay in plank. You can come down to the floor and do a little sphinx or cobra if you're down there, or you can let yourself just stay in your plank. And we'll make our way from there back into downward facing dog pose. Good. And from here, let's bring our right foot forward to find our lunge. Again, however you need to get it there. Doesn't matter whether you put a knee or knees down or come up and then back down into your lunge. And then we'll step forward again. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. And again, right into your breath. See if you can stay with your breath all the way in and all the way out, whatever kind of support you need. But watch the breath. And feel the movement of the body as you inhale and exhale. Feeling the ribs expand on those inhalations. One more breath. And then we're going to bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And as we exhale our hands down, imagine the top of your head getting up higher towards the ceiling. So you feel taller. Feet firmly into the ground. Thighs gently lifting up. Tailbone reaching down towards between your heels, or kind of like the back of your heels. And then it's really easy to feel your hips over your ankles and your shoulders over your hips. Feeling a little more energy flowing through your body. And we're going to let our arms come on down beside us here now. Shake out. If you need to swing your arms, walk around a little bit, do. I'm going to flip my chair around and have your blocks handy. We're going to come into Warrior 2 first. So stepping that right foot back to be about parallel to the back edge of your mat. And then bringing that left foot to where the toes face forward and it's parallel to the long edge of your mat. And when you bend that knee, find that alignment, right? Knee right out over the center of the foot. And sometimes when you bend your knee, you kind of want to go a little longer in your stance. Just adjust if you need to so that you feel pretty good. pretty balanced between your feet there. Rise your arms on up and out from your shoulders. Flex your hands for a second. Feel the undersides of the arms really there. And then go ahead and let the palms face down and reach out through the fingertips. Spread your fingers out a little bit here just to really feel your hands spread. Feel the fingers, feel energy out through every fingertip on both hands, right? Feel the feet pressing gently away from each other on the floor. And let's put our right hand down on our right hip now. Straighten our left leg out. And bring our left hand down for triangle. So I love to use a chair. I could stay up on this chair forever, right? I could go down if I want onto the seat of the chair. Same thing though with your leg. You can have your hand up on your thigh. You can slide your hand down like towards your shin. Or you can grab a block and put a block or even stack 2 blocks up and put those blocks under your hands to have support and be in your triangle. So your thighs are lifting up towards your hips. Start to think of reaching your right hand straight up towards the ceiling, straight up from your shoulder. And if that doesn't work for your shoulder, just put your hand down on your hip and don't even do the arm part. Feel your thighs engaging upward. It's like you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet, but you're lifting up with your thighs. It's a lot of work in the legs. Very strengthening. One more breath. We're going to bend the left knee. We're going to come on back to warrior 2. Press those feet away from each other. Get you right back into that core strength in this warrior 2 pose. And we're going to bring our hands down and we're going to turn our feet. Now, at first, kind of adjust your feet. We're going to turn the toes out a little bit. All right? So you might want to be closer together with your feet or farther apart. Just put your hands on your hips and let your one knee bend at a time. Just a barely little shift from side to side. Not big, right? Just enough to where you feel one knee coming straighter, one knee bending a little. But don't make it so big that it feels uncomfortable at all. In your knees especially, or in your hips. Good. And then come back into center and both knees are bent a little bit. So there you are, like in your goddess. And they don't have to be very bent, right? You bend your knees a little bit out over towards the center of your feet. You're going to feel your legs and your hips, your thighs. We're going to float the arms up out, straight out from our shoulders, and bring our left arm on top of our right and give ourselves a hug. And you can head into your eagle wrap if you want, or you can stay hugging. And if your legs start to scream at you, then just straighten them up a little bit for a second. Let yourself take a little break. And then if you want to bend them again, you can. Or you can stay bent the whole time if it's not too much for your legs and your hips. Let it feel good. Let yourself feel open between the shoulder blades on the back. One more breath. We're going to unwind those arms. Bring them on down beside us. We're going to straighten the legs up so we can turn our feet more parallel now, toes forward towards that long edge. And come on forward and grab your blocks, of course, if you need them for your wide-legged forward bend. So take your time in this. Bend a knee at a time like we did when our toes were turned out. But, you know, when you do them with your toes, parallel these little bends, it gets more into your inner thighs, right? So just enjoy finding that. Nice release for the inner thighs. And then come on back into center and let both your knees bend. And see if you can put your elbows right above your knees and touch the tips of your fingers and the tips of your thumbs together. So you've made this little kind of tent with your hands and you're lengthening back through your tailbone. You've got a very long back here. It's a squat. It feels really good releasing there. Good, so one more breath. Well, actually, just for fun, bring all the tips of the fingers and the thumbs in towards each other. So you're still supported just like you were, but now you're bringing everything in so the fingers and tips of the fingers and thumbs touch. And then stretch them back out again to that tent-like shape. And then do that again. Bring the tips of the fingers and the thumbs towards each other there. And then open them back out again. Yeah, feels good in the hands. And then we're going to release. So if you need to grab your blocks to give yourself some support, we're going to come into the pose to stay a little bit with our breath. So get comfortable so you are able to stay without feeling any kind of stress. You know, and letting the upper body release, but also not being in such an extreme pose that your legs are screaming at you, right? So if you need to shorten your stance a little bit and get it less wide, if you need to bring your head to support you on the block somehow to get a little more different feeling in your hips and your upper body, then do. There are lots of ways you can be in this pose. And then just let yourself accept your breaths in and out. Feeling that sense of the breath really coming fully into the ribs. One more nice full deep breath. And now before you come up, you take your time. If you need to let your feet come closer together before you come on up to standing, by all means do, so that you're comfortable about how you rise up. And then take your time. Move around a little bit. Walk around if you need. We're going to do the other side. So take your time to get your blocks where you know you might need them. That seems like most of us need them in front, but you might want to use them for your triangle. So line up for warrior two, that right foot forward and the left foot back. Line up your heels. And again, remember this angle of this back foot is totally up to you. It can be more parallel to the back edge of your mat, or you can send your heel back further if that feels okay in your ankle and in your knee, in your foot back there. And then bend that right knee. Be mindful, find the length that feels so solid and strong. You'll kind of know when you rise your arms on up and you flex your hands and you look at the back of your right hand there, you kind of know if you feel good in your legs up into your hips, right? And then go ahead and let your palms face down. Reach out through your fingertips. And remember, it's that idea of reaching out through every fingertip, both hands. So you feel very equal in your shoulders. It's like your arms are growing out of your back. Feeling that strength there as you press the feet away from each other. Feeling that up into your hips. And we'll put our left hand down on our left hip. We're going to straighten our right knee out. Coming into triangle. So again, if you got the chair there, you can bring your hand down to the chair. You can bring your forearm. You can put your hand down lower. Of course, you can use your leg. You can use your blocks. You're extending your torso out over that front leg. And if you want to add the left arm, if you want to bring it straight up from your left shoulder with the palm facing outward there, you can. Facing forward, really, of where you're looking. But that's not necessary. If your shoulder bothers you, put the hand down on your hip. Your triangle, 3 points. The 2 feet, the top shoulder or hand. Feel that length through both sides of the body. Thighs are engaging upward. We're going to bend the right knee. Come on back into warrior two. Pressing those feet gently away from each other gets us right back up into that core strength. And we're going to bring our hands down. And we're going to turn our feet again. Now, again, we're going to try to turn them out a little bit, like a little goddess, right? Bend the knees a little bit and see if you can then just kind of shift a little bit from side to side. So you're just letting yourself, you don't even have to come to a straight leg at all. You can just shift a little bit side to side. If it hurts your knees, don't do it at all. And then come back into center. And let's bring our arms up into goddess arms. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Spread your fingers really wide here now. Feel your feet in the floor. And then stretch your arms long and bring your right arm on top of your left to give yourself a hug this time. So again, you can do this, hugging, staying, or into your eagle arm wrap if you choose to go into the wrap. Totally not necessary. Let yourself, again, find that release between the shoulder blades. If your legs start to scream at you, just straighten your legs up. Because if you do, that takes all that pressure out of your thighs, right, in your hips. So, very strengthening pose. One more breath. And then unwind those arms. Let's go back to goddess arms again. Let yourself come into the elbows bent, the palms facing forward. Good. And then release, stretch the arms down, bring your toes more forward, so adjust for your wide-legged forward bend. And come on forward. And take your time. Use your blocks if you want. Let yourself move around a little bit if it feels good to bend that knee at a time. And then come on back into center. Whether your knees are bent or straight, leave them pretty equal, right? So either they're both straight or they're both bent. And let's walk our hands over towards the right. You can use your blocks and just walk a little bit with your blocks, or you can walk all the way over to your right foot. And then come on back into center and take your time to go to the left. Again, you can take your time to hold the foot there, or you can keep your hands on your blocks in front of your foot. Good, and then we'll come on back into center again. And if possible, let yourself bend both your knees. See if you can reach towards either just in front of your toes on the floor, or maybe even hold your ankles. So if you can hold your ankles, do that. Let your arms stay straight. You're at a nice long back. Your knees are bent, and you've got a nice long back. Same thing if you have your hands in front on blocks or on the floor in front of your feet. Find that nice length. One more breath. And then go where you can to find release for yourself. So if you want to go ahead and fold and let the top of the head release towards the ground, do it. If you know you need to keep your back long and you like those blocks out there in front of you, you can use them for your forearms. You can use them for your hands. But just go where you're able to follow your breath all the way in and out. Good. One more full deep breath now. Really feel the weight of your head if you can. Unless you have it propped up on a block there, but feeling that release, feeling just a sense of relief for your back and your hips. One more breath. And then take your time when you're ready to rise up. Be really mindful. Come on up. You can bring your feet closer together before you even head up if you want to. You know that. And then walk around a little bit. Move around however you need. If you're using your chair, you might want to turn the seat of it around to face you. And if you don't have a chair, have your blocks right here at the front of your mat. Because we're going to bring our hands down, whatever height you want to use, highest height of the block or the chair seat. And we're going to step our right foot back and find a lunge. Just coming into an easy lunge here. Just let it be good to reach back through that heel. Enjoy the length again of your spine. Good. And now let's come on into a pyramid pose. So most of us will have to bring that right foot up and in to lower the heel down to the floor. Bring the heel inward a little bit. And now both legs are straight and thighs are lifting up towards the hips. And just lengthen out through your spine here. Let yourself find a fairly easy pyramid pose here, because we're going to just right away add a little twist. Your back is flat. You're going to bring your left hand to your left hip and roll that left shoulder up. Coming into that twist there, feel the thighs engaging up towards the hips. Good, and then come on back down with your hand again. Now, I know some of you like to bow forward more over that leg. If you like to do that, you can. If that feels like a relief to you, to come forward over the leg a little bit, do. Good. And then come up enough to find yourself back into your lunge. So release that right heel a little further back. Find your lunge. Now you really want to get your hands supported on your blocks or on your chair, whichever works. Because from here, we're just going to launch on right on up into a warrior three. Rising that right leg up in the air behind us, turning the toes down towards the ground. Doesn't have to be high. Toes can be way low, right, almost to the floor. Or you can bring the leg up as high as parallel to the floor. If you want to reach your left hand to the back of your chair, or, if you're on your blocks, you can put the hand at your chest if you want. To do a little bit more, or reach your arm forward if you want. Just play a little bit. One more breath. Good, nice and strengthening. And we're going to bring that right foot down underneath our hip. And right away, step your left foot back into lunge. So we're just going to the other side, and that should feel like a big relief to come into a lunge after that. So take your time, enjoy that relief. Let it feel good. And now again, we're coming in towards that pyramid. So most of us will have to step that left foot in a little bit, shorten the stance. Not everybody, but, and then as you put the foot on the floor and the heel turns in a little bit, that 20-30 degree angle of that back foot, you're going to lift your thighs up towards your hips. You're going to really feel that engagement of the thighs lifting up like you're creating space in your knees. And you can fall forward if you want, you know. To me, I like to come down onto my forearms on my chair or put my hands down on my blocks and let my body kind of bow over my legs. But not every day does that feel good, right? So just be mindful. Take your time. Good. One more breath here. And now we're going to come back up more parallel to the floor so we can add that little twist part. Bringing the right hand to the right hip and rolling that right shoulder up with your hand down on your sacrum. So again, it is really all about the legs working here and staying fairly level right there on your low back where your hand is so that you feel that sense of really being able to find that twist in the middle of your back. Good. One more breath. Revolve triangle. We're going to bring that hand on down, and we're going to from here find lunge again. So bend that front knee. You might want to reach back a little further with that left foot. That's up to you. But remember that we're going into that warrior three, right? Which is kind of hard to do, especially if you have your hands lower on the blocks. But set your right foot up so that when you do lift that back foot up, you're like, oh, I feel really good right where I am here. Toes can face down, they can be low. You can lift the leg up as high as parallel to the floor. If you need to bend your right knee, do. And of course, if you like to bring your right hand off the chair or the block, you can put your hand at your chest. If you have your chair, you can put it on the back of your chair, which lifts the body up a little bit, which feels really good. So just play a little bit in your warrior three. Let it feel good. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself release on down. Separate your feet to the outer edges of your mat here now. And then just come on back into elbows above your knees to release. Let your hips release there. Oh, and breathe. You can squat all the way down if you want to squat. So if you're a squatter, going all the way down with your hips feels good, go for it. One more breath. And now we're going to slowly rise on back up, bring our feet together. And crazy me, forgot to tell everybody we're going to need a strap today. So, kind of take your time. They're hanging on the sides of the racks. So if you can walk over, if you have your own, of course, get your own. And then we'll come back to our mats and we're going to sit. So once you get a strap in your hands, come on down to the floor. If you need to sit up on a blanket, do it, right? Blanket can feel really good. Let your legs stretch out for a second. Move around a little bit with your feet and your ankles. Do little flip-flops, wiper blades, whatever feels good. And we're going to take the strap onto the ball of our left foot and let ourselves really feel that strap across the base of the big toe mound, a little toe mound. Now, what you do about this left leg, right? If you're fairly comfortable to let the leg come up like you're doing tree pose to your inner thigh, go for it. Maybe you feel better to keep it more at your calf level. But the other thing that is into play here is this hip, right? So if you do this and you think, oh, well, this feels fine, except when you come forward a little bit, it doesn't feel so fine. have a block. You have any kind of tweakiness going on, put a block underneath your knee and see if that helps. And that can be the same thing if the foot is up higher too, right? And if altogether this does not feel good to you, just stretch the leg out and concentrate a little bit on this leg that you have the strap on, okay? So sit up tall at first and look at your foot in the strap and kind of press that ball of your foot into your strap. Draw your toes back as you press into the ball of the foot. And your heel's down on the ground now, and it's drawing back towards you, and you're all activated in your leg. So that when you exhale your way and draw yourself a little forward, and then you inhale your way back up, you can keep that length of the spine. So you can exhale, let yourself come just an inch or two if you want, and inhale, bring yourself back up. And if these little rocking motions start to feel better and better where you want to go and stay a little farther forward, do, right? So if you're like, oh, I really just want to keep on going, I even want to get my hands closer to my foot and come forward, then do. You don't have to keep up the rocking. You can go to a point and stay, maybe even just being an inch or two far forward. Let yourself enjoy letting the back of the leg release a little bit more there. And watch your breath. Once you get into the pose where you feel like you're going to stay, really just let yourself watch your breath all the way in and out. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly come up. Now from here, we're going to let that leg come out to the side a little bit. So as you do, don't go too far to where you feel uncomfortable. It can be a little bit, it can be more. See about sliding your hand down towards your strap here, right? So you're reaching down towards the strap. Good. And then open up the side body. So you can draw this top shoulder up towards the ceiling. If you want, you can stretch the top arm up. And if you want, you can even go over towards that leg, coming into more of a side stretch. If that's too much, don't do it. Let yourself stay up like this. And especially if it feels uncomfortable in that bent knee side, right? So take your time. Just breathe. One more breath here, letting yourself expand the ribs with your breath. And then we're going to slowly come on back up. Take your time here. Bring that leg on back. And we're going to switch feet. So now I'm going to stop saying right and left because some people are on different legs and I can't remember what I even said in the first place. So let yourself do your other leg. And again, it's this bent knee that you need to kind of be concerned about, right? Because if you come forward and there's too much pressure on your knee or in your hip in a funny way, it's a kind of sometimes it can just feel like a little tweak, right? Then that support can make it go away sometimes. And if it doesn't, stretch the leg out and don't worry about it. So let yourself press the ball of the foot into the strap. Feel your heel down on the ground. Draw it back towards you on that long leg. And let yourself come forward and back a little bit. So you can inhale when you come back up. Exhale when you go forward. And if that doesn't feel good, that motion there, then, you may decide, well, I just want to come forward and I want to stay forward. I want to let myself even reach down more towards my foot. So you're thinking of that coming forward from your low back, right? Good, nice. And once you do decide to stay, you come to a spot where you think you can stay. Be with your breath. Watch your breath all the way in and out. And sometimes on your inhale, you kind of come back out of the forward bend a little bit, but then when you exhale, it just feels like you want to go deeper forward, right? So just let your body respond to your breath, in other words. Good. One more breath. Now take your time when you come on back up. And remember, from here, we're going to open the leg out a little to the side. How far you go is up to you. How this feels in this bent leg is up to you too. If you need to support or if you need to stretch the leg out long, do. And then we'll just slide that hand down, the hand closest to the foot. Let it slide down so you're getting closer to your foot there. And bring your top hand on up to your hip. Roll your shoulder up towards the ceiling. There's a side stretch right there. Actually quite a deep one. Adding the arm just makes it either feel better or worse, actually. Either one. You decide which one. You can put the hand back down, or you can lean over the leg more. Use your arm. Let yourself come forward over, come out over that leg. Good. So one more breath. And now we're going to slowly come on back up. Use your belly to help you get back up. Bring the leg on back around. Take your strap off your foot, but keep the strap. And see if you can double your strap in length. And I'm hoping all of you have a long one. You may not if you have a 6-foot one instead of an 8-foot one. But double it anyway and see what happens if you come to the end of your strap. And you can sit however comfortable. You can sit cross-legged if you'd rather. But let yourself just hold close to the ends of the strap and let the strap come up overhead. Hug your elbows a little bit forward. Let yourself really feel that activation in your arms. All right? Good. And if possible, see if it can come back just a little bit behind you. Don't do it if it hurts your shoulders. And then come on back with the strap right over the top and let one arm, doesn't matter which one, come up close to your head, but the other one come down. But you're not moving your body, just your arms and your shoulders. And then we'll come back up and go over to the other side. And then come back up and go over to the other side one more time. And then come back up. Keep pulling like you're trying to make your strap longer with your hands. And then let yourself come back up at the top. And we're going to bring the strap down and forward. Yeah. And just release. You may not feel like that feels like much till you stop. But it really does get into the shoulders. Okay. We're going to try this. I know we haven't done this in a while, and I know some of you like it and some of you hate it. So if you know you're not a lover of this lying back on your blocks to open your chest, then you don't have to do it. You can do a bridge pose if you'd rather. But putting one block down to its lowest height, and the block that's going to be under your head, I'm putting mine to the next height up for now to see how I feel. And I'm going to lie back so that this bottom block comes kind of right across my shoulder blades or a little bit underneath, right? So that I can hook the tips of my shoulder blades over it a little bit. That's usually the best spot for me, but some days it needs to be up higher for me to be comfortable, right? And then this block under my head might want to be right like that height where it's higher. Or maybe I want to go, it feels good to let my head go down and my chin come up. Right? This is a big openness across the chest here. Supported, it's a supported back bend. Your legs can stay up with your feet on the floor. You can stretch your legs out. You can do your feet together in Baddha Konasana if it feels good. And I'll be happy to bring people blocks. If they want to do the supported Baddha Konasana too, I can put blocks under your legs. And if you can't get that block in the right place, I mean, with COVID, I can't come around and touch everybody and do stuff, but I can give you kind of an idea if I walk around whether I think the block might be a little more comfortable if you changed it to a different place. You don't want it low, you want it up under your shoulder blades. Yeah, in a place where you're just like, what the heck is that doing there?
That's about any place near my shoulder blade.
And then try that under your head here, that height. And then if you need to, you can kind of change the height. Daphne, I'll get you some. So, the bottom block, if you're feeling really miserable, can be changed to a little bit different height. Does anybody want blocks for under their legs to try to go into Baddha Konasana? Or are you comfortable to just keep your feet on the floor? Yeah, yeah, so like that. Yeah, okay. So that's about right. It's not gonna feel good at first, okay? And then you're gonna put your head on that block, okay? And it's gonna, yeah, it feels weird. You've never done this before, okay? And if you're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible, just changing this block a little bit can help. Although I think you're in a pretty good place. Yeah, I think you're in a pretty good place. It takes a while for the body to go, oh, if you bring your arms out beside you and turn your palms up towards the ceiling and let yourself just feel that support of the back body there. Help the muscles across the front of your chest to release. And if you come into like 3-part breaths, it can be helpful.
Does the arm keeps going numb?
Your what?
My arm keeps going numb.
No, going numb?
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No.
Stop it. Okay.
No. No, absolutely don't do it. That means probably you're pressing on some kind of nerve back there.
I won't do it.
No, but lay on your back, maybe flat. Do a little bridge pose or something that feels good to you. Let your arms, like if you need to hug yourself a little bit to kind of get that back. Yeah. And if you're like, okay, I've had entirely enough of this, I am so done. You don't have to stay. You can stay for another minute if you want or so. If you can come into 3-part breaths in this supported back bend, inhaling into your belly, then into your ribs, then up into your chest. And then when you let the breath out, you can really feel it come out of your chest, and then your ribs, and then your belly. In other words, you're not fighting yourself. You don't want to fight yourself. And if you feel like you're doing that, then just take yourself off the blocks. And when you do get ready to come down to the floor, which everybody will here in another few seconds, or you may be ready now, just lay with your feet on the floor and see how you feel. Feel how your back and your front body feel. Once you get off the blocks and you move them out of the way, you can either stretch your legs long or keep your feet on the floor where your knees are bent. And just see how you feel, both in the front and the back of your body. Hopefully you feel a little more open both places, right?
I have a shoulder thing going on. I can't get it out. Can't bend.
That's the hardest part.
You ought to see me get up and stand it out of bed.
So take your time. And now once you've kind of been just laying there for a little bit, see what your body wants to do. Does the idea of knees coming into your chest or doing a little twist of some sort sound good? Yeah, maybe you want to put your feet on the floor and let your knees go side to side. Maybe you want to bring one knee into your chest, bring it across the body into a little twist. Or maybe there's something else your body feels like doing. And that could be anything. You know, some people like to bring their knees in and curl up into a little ball. And some people feel like they might even want to do a bridge pose after doing that to see how their back feels just pressing up into their normal bridge pose, right? So be mindful. Take your time, kind of appreciate how your body feels, whatever it is you're doing. And I'm going to start to bring blankets and bolsters and anything else that anybody wants for support. So wave at me if the idea of a bolster sounds good. From underneath your knees. If a blanket, you're welcome. For a cover sounds good, or a blanket for underneath your head sounds good. Just remember, the most important thing for Shavasana, you're welcome, is to be comfortable. So that you're not kind of fighting yourself. Good. Okay, if I turn this. So remember, I have all these blankets. If you're chilly at all, let me know, even if it's just your feet. Or if it's just, you need a blanket across your chest. Okay, I'm gonna help you, Kaye. I'm gonna help you. Let's see if this is too much. Maybe you can move in on. Is that too much? Is it too high?
Good.
Okay. So just let yourself enjoy feeling the ground underneath you. Letting yourself now just start to accept your breaths. Watch your breath. When your mind wanders, and it always will, just keep returning back to your own breath. And usually when you do find yourself off into thinking and you come back, the breath kind of wants to change a little bit, that's fine. And then the breath starts to settle again and become a little quieter. And then before you know it, you're back again to one of those thoughts, but that means you found these little quiet places. So just give yourself these few minutes appreciating the quiet, letting your body get whatever it needs from all you just did, just by allowing yourself to completely and fully relax.